On the back burner again. Don't tell me we can be friends. You took my heart and you tore it in two, so we can't just be friends.
If you feel like doing the intro.
I think the Good Morning Vietnam. I mean,
Okay.
that'd be good. Do you guys want that one?
I've never heard it. I don't know what it actually
Good
sounds
Morning
like.
from Good
Vietnam.
Morning Vietnam.
Is that a real thing?
It's from Paris, France in the 1930s.
It's from Robin Williams.
He's totally recording right now.
Look at that Paris France thing is real, okay?
Alright, I just sent it to you.
Yeah, so that's an inside joke. One of our, when we interviewed Jared, we were talking about jazz, and Zane's like, jazz is really big in France, isn't it? And I was like, idiot! It started in the U.S. Turns out he's right. That there's.
Well, we found that out
Hey,
days
there you go.
later.
I am right.
But we had been like trashing him behind his back for like
A
a
large jazz presence in Paris.
I think jazz is a thing in France.
We're like, you're so dumb, Zane.
I know.
Turns out we're freaking wrong.
But we didn't edit it out. I thought we did, but it's in the interview.
Yeah, I was like, you need to make sure to edit that out. No one's gonna take you seriously if you keep that in there.
No, I read a book by the lead guy in the Talking Heads. It's like a history of pop music, basically. And yeah, he talks about really just the history of music. He talked about that, and I learned about it in my music class I took in college.
Wow.
So
You went to college?
not at the moment.
Your mom goes to college.
Oh,
Got him.
Got him.
jeez, Zane, she just murdered you.
Are we already recording?
Guys,
Sweet.
did you know that Jamie from Joe Rogan got COVID?
What?
Jamie,
Pull that up.
Jamie, pull that up.
Do you ever watch Joe Rogan? He's a guy who does a podcast with like freaking everybody.
Everyone.
Anyways.
I think he's literally had everybody.
He has politics people. He has.
I just watched Miley
Athletes.
Cyrus on Joe Rogan.
Was she good?
There's a Miley Cyrus.
She I don't think emotionally has aged past age 15.
Well,
Makes
yeah.
sense.
Aaron agrees. Did you watch that podcast? I listened to
Is that a recent one?
Well,
Yeah,
nothing very
it's
surprising
Surprising at all,
about it.
though.
Oh man, I should watch that.
Did you see her cover? Her recent cover?
Nuh-uh. Is it spicy?
Is it Metallica?
But she's doing like a Metallica tribute. She did Zombie by the Cranberries.
Oh, really?
Okay, she slayed it.
Oh, I'm not
Check
that
it out. Anyways, are you ready, Nathan?
I'm
You-
ready whenever you are.
You can sum that up. You can condense it if you want.
I'd love to read it. I think this is a
You
great
like it?
introduction.
Dope.
Can you do it with Good Morning Vietnam?
Ready?
Good morning, Vietnam! My name is Mak Harris. This is the Yuckbuckets podcast. Here are with Allie Mae, Benny J, Sammy C, Jared Farron. Once again, I'm Buck Yuckett. We are joined today by Mak Harris. Mackenzie Harris,
Known professionally as Mak Harris, is an independent American singer-songwriter and producer from small-town Montpelier, Idaho. Montpelier? Montpelier.
Multiplier item.
I'm bad with the names. With a production style said to be similar to Taylor Swift, Regina Spektor, Billie Eilish, and Sarah Bareilles. I'm so bad with names. Mak Harris is breaking her way into the music industry with her own unique sound.
There you go.
Building upon countless musical influences, Mak Harris presents a style that defies genre, leaving listeners intrigued and craving more. Mac's debut, I almost called it debut EP entitled Relatable was released this last April across all music platforms with heart-wrenching lyrics and mellow undertones accompanied by sassy, upbeat themes. Mak, welcome to the Yuckbuckets podcast. We're thrilled to have you here.
Welcome, Mac.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
So I've got a first question.
All right.
Unless you got one on the tip of your mind
that's fine.
already.
I'm okay.
Another banger.
Another banger.
of a question.
So I've been listening to your music for like a week. You know that because last night I hounded you.
Right.
And
Yep.
even at the concert, shouted out and asked for a request. Asked you if you took requests, then I ruined your set.
No, you didn't ruin the set at all. You made it even better than it would
He
have
was
been.
so embarrassed all night. He's like, I ruined her set.
No, not at all. Not at all.
She's gonna hate us. So yeah, and the first thing that stuck out to me, there's a lot of things I want to cover here because I'm so impressed by your albums, right? The first thing is the quality of your studio recordings. So I want to ask you, do you have a go-to like studio or sound engineer, a friend of yours or something that you work with?
I actually just did it all on my own.
Whoa.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I did. I actually picked up how to do this production stuff about a year ago, and so I hadn't really had much experience with it before then. But
I should have picked that up from the intro.
yeah,
when we
that
see your
was like
producer.
my first project. So hopefully it's gonna get even better as we keep progressing.
Dude,
What is
That's
your recording
fantastic.
setup
Thank
look
you.
like?
Oh gosh,
Zane's like, how can I get that?
honestly, it is pretty simple.
Yeah.
It's just like my
Oh, hi,
stuff
Blue.
in my room. Pretty small setup actually, but I originally started all of my music with Logic, and now I use Pro Tools. So that's kind of what I use to clean up a lot of the stuff that I had done in Logic was Pro Tools. But
Nice.
What interface do you use?
I just have just a Scarlett.
The Scarlett.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Second generation. Like I said, super simple setup.
Do you record with a lot of like live instruments, or do you do more like MIDI kind of stuff? When
A
you're
lot
recording?
more of the stuff that I do is MIDI based.
Is MIDI
Anything that's on guitar, I use guitar for. But a lot of what adds to my sound is actually vocal layers. Like lots of my songs have. I think the one that had the most layers in it was like 100
What?
vocal layers in it. That I had gone through the night that I had recorded with it.
Was that the song "If I Die Tonight"?
Yep.
Oh, man.
That was If I Die Tonight.
I loved that.
Yeah, that one definitely took the most time to record as far as vocals.
So they're all your voice then.
Yep, they're all my voice.
I gotta ask. So, from what I understand about most of the music industry, is that there's singers and then there's producers. More often than not, that's how it goes. That you get paired off. If you're a singer, you go with the producer. Your producer, you get some sort of musician with you. As somebody who's been on both sides, you've worked both the producing aspect and the singing aspect. Do you think producers get enough credit for a lot of the music that is made?
Oh,
in
no.
music?
No way. No way.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I've been blown away just by the stuff that I've been learning about production, and I still have a ton to learn, and I'm going to continue learning probably for the rest of my life. But I think that producers don't get half the credit that they deserve. A lot of the songwriting that actually goes into songs that you hear on the radio or things that actually, go big that a lot of people hear it wouldn't have gotten there without the production and the producer that was behind it, for sure.
Shout out to Aaron, our sound guy.
Yeah, Aaron.
Aaron's great.
We need to set up a mic for you so you can chime in on these discussions.
Yeah.
Especially on studio stuff. Because you would know.
So he can weigh in on whether or
Studio
not.
stuff I'm good talking about.
We should do that.
There you go.
You may have said this already and I just didn't catch it, but do you write your songs alone?
I do. Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah.
We can't get
Are you
her.
trying to,
We're just trying to find like the weak link. Or what's the trick,
Yeah, where's your ghostwriter?
Yeah.
We're just trying to figure out who.
Did you travel back in time and steal someone's songs?
What's that movie? Yesterday.
She-
You're one of those. Well, dang, that's so impressive. So the other thing I noticed was how varied your songs are. So locally, you mostly hear like you'll have an artist has their one big song that's like really tasteful, people like it, and then their other songs kind of just sound like that one, right? So how do you vary your styling in your songs? It seems like it's pretty well like mapped out. It's not like accidental.
Yeah, it's definitely not accidental. A lot of it comes back to I think a lot of the musical figures that have influenced me up to this point, and I always try and listen to new music. So whether that's like new pop artists that are coming out or other weird genres that people don't really listen to as much, like I really like to vary up what I listen to and then take different elements from what they might be creating and try and recreate it, but in my own way.
We noticed that because we listened to your playlist on your Spotify that's like pop
No,
hits
I
or
was like,
something.
This is not anything like her music
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if I heard a country song. I feel like we heard a country song and then a rap song,
There's like a lot.
like right after.
Yeah.
It was just
Sounds
like,
about right.
yeah. And it sounds like that's a creative decision strategy that you make in order to keep your songwriting interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Can
So-
you
go
compare
ahead.
and contrast a few of her songs that you heard?
Oof. A Back Burner is definitely a pop song, right? And then there was one that you played that was so soulful blues. It was like listening to Georgia by.
Yeah.
Dang it, we're gonna cut this out because I'm forgetting the guy's name.
Ray Charles?
Ray Charles, thank you.
Say it again. It was like listening.
It was like listening to Georgia by Ray Charles. Oh, we'll just cut all that out. Anyways, but I think it was called Rebecca something. Rebecca Theme.
Rebecca's Theme. Yeah.
Theme?
Yeah, I wrote it for my roommate.
Yeah.
She got engaged and
Oh.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
lovey-dovey, yeah. So
Girl,
Yeah,
that's so cool.
I just like really felt it in their relationship. So I was like, I gotta write them a song for their wedding. So
Yeah.
that
It
will
sounds
forever be her song.
it sounds similar to Baby Grand,
Yep.
which Billy
That's
Joel
what
did
I was
with.
going for.
Oh
Exactly what I
man.
was going for.
Yeah.
And anytime that I was like working on that song, I was like, I really want to get like that Billy Joel vibe, but like also kind of Ray Charles. Like those were the two.
Man, how's that
influences
feel
behind
that these
song.
two
So-
nailed
Oh,
it?
you hit it,
You were
dude.
saying that those were like what it sounded like. I'm like, yes, I did it. I
Yeah.
did it.
Good.
Well, it also flatters us because it means we have a decent ear. We actually we know what we're hearing,
It's true.
which surprises both of us, I think.
No, that's big.
Do you find when you're listening to music that you listen to singles mostly, or do you like to listen through albums?
I like to listen through albums
Through albums.
usually, just because it gives me a greater perspective of what the artist was going for.
Uh-huh.
Which I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, what were they going for?
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know, you can't really figure it out. But I think that it's interesting to even read through the titles first before I listen to the album, because like if you pull up what I had released, one sec, I can't even remember the order that I put them in, but I put them in a specific order
Right.
Really?
for a reason.
For
Yeah.
relatable.
For relatable. And originally I was actually going to have several songs on this, but then I just decided I was just going to start out with 5 for now. But it's just like, think again, back burner, if I die tonight, you don't care, happy. And it's just
Oh.
like, reading through that just kind of like gave me the whole vibe of what I was really going for with this album, just based on where it was coming from. And when I wrote it, there was just a lot of experiences that I felt like this was like, playing them in that order specifically would get across the message that I wanted my listeners to have.
Do you listen to Death Cab for Cutie ever?
Yeah.
So I think Ben Gibbard, their like lead guy, is really good at that. He did. I think is it a Tiny Desk they did? It's some live thing they did, and the songs I can't remember what they are. They did 4 songs from different albums, but if you listen to all of them, it tells the story of meeting a girl, being in love with the girl, losing the girl, and having lost her.
Yep.
Oh,
And
jeez.
I was like, I watched it, I read through the comments, a bunch of people said that. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So,
It's an experience for
Yeah.
sure.
are you listening to any albums right now that you're like picking apart?
Ooh. You know what? Taylor Swift's album.
Her
the
new
last
one?
she
Her newest
put
one?
out. Mhm.
Huh.
I feel like I've listened to a lot of other albums, but I feel like that one's the one that just like struck me the most out of anything I've listened recently. And like a lot of Taylor Swift's new stuff, I haven't really been super into. So this was like, this was good. It was a refreshing, breath of fresh air for me
Yeah.
to read through it. And like as I was listening to it, I just followed along on the lyrics, and it was just left me like, wow.
Oh, I think-
No other
I
way
had,
to describe
I had a
it.
similar experience with her new album.
Yeah.
I was very impressed.
I've heard a lot of people say that, and I'm like, maybe I should listen to it,
See?
but I just never have. Because
Yeah, I've heard people say that, and then I've heard
Taylor
the opposite
Swift.
too. I've heard the opposite too, where they're like, "It's nothing like any of her other stuff. I don't like it at all." And I'm like, "Well, that's
Interesting.
totally
That's
why
the
I like
point.
it."
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's called Folklore.
Yeah.
We don't need to do a plug. She's famous.
And her name is Taylor
is
Swift,
Taylor
ladies and
Swift.
gentlemen.
Check her out.
Check her out on Spotify
Small country artist.
and everywhere else in the world.
Actually, I don't think she's on Spotify.
yeah,
She's on
SoundCloud.
Is she?
SoundCloud.
Jamie, pull that up.
Poor
I
Jamie
had a
with
question.
the COVID.
It said that you got to be able to learn how to steal like an artist, and what that means is like to be able to draw inspiration from some of your musicians. What is one thing you felt like you've stolen as an artist
Artistically.
from some other artist, and like how has that changed your music?
Also, you should tell us how you steal. Because I feel like it's very,
Like literally how you
it's surgical.
like, how you perform theft in real life.
Oh goch. Okay, which one do I go?
Go for his first, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can you repeat what you want me to go for here?
Yeah, so like, what have like, for example, you could, for example, some people steal a certain picking pattern that one of their favorite artists might like, and it's not
Oh,
the
I
same
see.
picking pattern that they play, but it is along the same lines that, and you can see the influence within your music, but it's not the same.
John Mayer's guitar and Jimi Hendrix's guitar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Right.
Both they're very distinct, each one, but you can tell one is inspired
big
by
old
the
thumb.
other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this could be either in producing, in writing, or in playing.
I think production style, Billie Eilish, for sure.
Really?
For sure. Like
Interesting.
for You Don't Care. I don't know if you've heard Billie Eilish's song "I Love You," but the production style is very, very similar. I used a lot of the same plugins that they used when
Oh,
they
that's
made
hilarious.
their music.
The
Yeah,
exact same one. Cool.
yeah.
Did you
and
do
so
that intentionally?
I did.
Atta girl.
I did.
A couple of your songs, I hear melodies that sound like theater, something you would hear in plays or in Disney movies.
Yep.
I forget which song I was listening to. The one of them that we jammed to last night, and I thought like this could be in a Disney
You're
movie,
talking
right?
about Backburner?
No, that one's more
I'm
pop
talking about the 3/4 one.
Yeah.
The 6/8 one.
with the
12,
guitar
16 one.
solo that you do.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ocean. Right?
Yes, Ocean.
Yeah.
It does. It sounds like something I would hear in a Disney song. So I mean, is that on purpose?
You know, that's definitely something I get told a lot.
I'm sorry if that's offensive.
No, it's not offensive. It's not offensive at all. It totally makes sense because it's like that's what I grew up on. So it's like one of those many underlying influences for sure. Like music
Okay.
theater, huge in my family. Like growing up, anytime that we're doing any form of work, it's like we're listening to Wicked, or some other musical, or Disney music. So it makes sense that would kind of bleed into my style, but I wouldn't say that it's necessarily intentional
I
sometimes.
see. You didn't surgically remove parts
No,
of others.
no.
Yeah. Okay.
Not for this one, anyways.
You just heard it. You heard it in your head. That's where the melodies
exactly,
went. Okay.
Exactly.
If you could, would you intentionally not make it sound like that?
No.
No,
I think
you
it's
keep
kind
it.
of- I
You like
think
it?
it's like
It's
has
you.
its own unique charm. It's like it's what I do. So
Wow.
So in your chord progressions, generally, do you just follow the melody where you hear it in your mind, or do you more often do the mathematical, surgical, see what other songs are made of, and kind of try to copy it?
it kind of depends. It really varies on the song because a lot of the time I'll come up with like a melody, but I'll do it in my car. Like when I'm driving, if I'm alone in my car and I'm driving down the freeway, I'll be singing and just like coming up with a melody, and then I'll find something that really works. Like Backburner, that entire song was written in the car.
Whoa.
And then I got home and I was like, I kind of like this song. I was like, I should do something with it. So then I like
Added some chord progressions that I felt like worked for it, and then added the production on top of that.
Nice.
So it really depends. But other times I'll look at pieces that are done by other artists and I'm like, oh, I kind of want to go for something more different. I want to find something that's kind of close to this. So then that's when I do the
That's when you do that.
surgery and
Yeah.
get into the knee deep, right?
Do you ever study theory?
Yes.
Okay, that.
Definitely. Yeah. Every theory class that you have to take, I've taken. So
I accidentally met you about a week ago, and in that moment, you told us that your tour, which was planned for, I think, this past spring and summer, which was going to feature you going up and down the West Coast, was canceled due to coronavirus, as many things were. What was your response? What did you do instead of going on that tour?
Well, there's not really anything that can compare to your first tour, right? So this was like the first real thing that I was going to be doing. So that was definitely a low blow, but I think it really motivated me to write a lot more music and like to really put out a lot more with what I could do while I was at home. Since Corona, I think I've written probably 30 songs, 30 or 40 like full songs that I feel really confident about.
Wow.
So it's like to come out of something like that and have like some songs that I actually feel really good about and want to do something with is like, it's huge.
That's crazy.
So what was on the docket for that tour?
Basically, so he had mentioned that it was going to be a West Coast tour. So it's actually really, I don't want you to think that it's like this big tour because it's not. It's not like a huge deal. But I mean, it was going to be performing in front of different audiences in different cities.
Right.
Through a touring agency called So Far Sounds. They've done a lot to help a lot of beginning artists. They actually were the first touring group that Billie Eilish had gone through. When
Really?
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's where she got her start, was going through them. So I had reached out to them and sent them videos and stuff, and we were like, okay, yeah, let's like plan on these cities. And I'd already given them like the dates and stuff, and yeah, then
So they manage your shows. They set it up with
basically, yeah. What it consists of is like they have a bunch of different people in all of these cities around the world that want to host concerts. So whether that's at like small venues or even people's backyards, it's like they have people that will get an audience to come and like have a show for you. So
dude. I wonder if we could get Zane's Garage in on that.
Dude, that'd be so cool.
honestly though, like hit them up.
Yeah.
Really great.
Just on their Facebook page?
Yeah, they actually have a website that I would suggest reaching out to them through because that's probably the easiest way to contact them.
How do you? So when you're doing a tour like that, are you just driving yourself in your like Corolla, or is that how that works? Or
I mean,
Do you have a
What a
Corolla?
roast.
no. I have a Ford Escape. Thank you.
What do you drive, Zane?
Mazda 3.
There you go. Yeah, that was kind of the goal. Was probably just me driving. So yeah, that was the original plan. But I mean, we didn't really get to make all of those final detail plans because it was canceled. Like basically, as soon as I had sent them my stuff and we had stuff planned, it was like Corona. So it wasn't like we even got to get into the details of how it was going to work or what we were going to end up doing with it. So
So
once
sad.
it's over.
yeah, and you know what? It's been okay. Like, there's been a lot of really good things that have come from it.
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
think
say.
that a lot of artists can get on that same boat and agree. I mean, I haven't seen so many people put out as much music as they have in these last 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been so many artists that haven't put out stuff for years and are coming back and putting out stuff. So I'm like, oh, maybe Corona is a good thing.
Totally.
Nice.
Totally.
That's what you
Well, I just realized as we were talking about the tour that we don't actually know about your presence in Provo, and just we like to ask everybody about their feeling being a musician in the Provo music scene. I'd like to make or do whatever I can, and I think all of us are included in that, to like increase a sense of community among musicians in Provo. So it's not so much like who can get a spot at the Velour and become the next big thing, because I just think that's a little silly anyways.
Yep.
But what's it been like? How did you get your start in Provo? Did you get your start in Provo? And yeah, just walk us through what it's been like for you.
Well, that's a good question because I'm actually not super huge in like the music scene here in Provo. Like there's a lot of musicians that like I know, but the people that I do know or that I've had like interactions with has been purely online. Like
Oh.
Really?
a lot of it has been Instagram or mostly 100% Instagram actually.
Who have you reached out and connected with?
I've talked with Mindy Gledhill quite a
Cool.
bit.
Oh,
She's great.
Yeah, she's awesome. And so I've had a couple of conversations with her, but probably not enough for her to remember who I am.
I have a story about meeting her, actually.
Yeah?
It's really embarrassing. Because I was working at Vivint Home Security.
Nice.
And they hired her to come in and do a show for like a company party.
Hey.
And I fangirled out like hard
I'm sure.
because our mission was strict, and she was like one of the only like pop sounds
Yep.
that we were allowed to
Yep.
listen to. And so like I loved her. I listened to her like every day for 2 years, right?
You were the single feminine touch in my whole mission.
Yeah. So
you
like
say that too?
no.
Don't lie.
But yeah, I walked in and just saw her. I was like on my way to the lunch line, and she was just standing there, and I was like, so I got super nervous, but I was like, I can't not talk to her. And I went up to her and said, "Hi, I'm Ben. I love your stuff." And then she's just like, "Great." And I said, "Can I get a picture with you?" And she said, "I think so, sure." And she like shoots.
Sounds like Mindy. I
Yeah.
can see her. Like,
Yeah.
I can see her facials and everything, and she's having that conversation
Yes.
with you. The only reason I can though is because I had a really similar interaction with her. So that's why I can say that.
Oh man.
Wait, what happened to you then when you
Yeah.
went?
I had reached out to her on Instagram, and I didn't think she was going to respond because I was like wanting to do an interview with someone and kind of get some names of people I could talk to and people around Utah because I knew that she was involved in the Utah music scene. So
Okay.
I had reached out to her and I was like, what's the likelihood of me being able to just chat with you for a bit? And you don't have to respond 'cause
Right.
I know that you're a big person, so never mind. Anyways.
So never mind. Forget I ever said this.
Forget that you read this message. Anyways, and she responded, and then we had a phone call, and I talked with her for like a good hour just about a lot of the things that I'm doing and what I wanted to,
Whoa.
where I kind of wanted to go with things and getting some advice. And then I went to a seminar that she put on out at Snow College. And that's where I met her in person. But when I met her in person, it was like a few months after we'd had our phone conversations. I was like, hey, do you remember when
Remember
you
me?
talked to me on the phone?
Remember my shaky
Yeah,
voice
you
from
remember
from
me?
the
I've
phone?
been a big fan since I was like 12 years old.
Yeah.
Since the first thing you put out. So yeah, it's cool.
So Minnie Gledhill, who else?
Let's see. I've talked a lot with like Jen Blossel. I don't know if you guys know her.
Oh.
Yes, I've actually sat and chatted with her, and
Oh
her
my goodness, I haven't met her in person yet, but I adore her.
she's really sweet. So,
so cute.
Who is this?
Jen Blossel, you weren't there. Nathan was.
Yeah.
So who does the freaking garage shows? Juice Jam started 2 years ago, 1 year
I
ago.
love the Juice Jam boys.
I'm sure they're not doing stuff now, but it's
This is the Juice Jam that I skipped out on because
Yeah.
I wanted to sleep. Huh?
Yep.
No, they're doing live streams.
Oh, they are? Okay. Anyways, Juice Jam, shout out to them. They're a little venue in Provo, a garage that, like, welcomes I mean, honestly, if they ask us if we know anybody who would want to perform, we'll tell them you, because
I want to get involved because
it's a good venue for you.
Yeah.
Anyways, Jen Blossel performed there, and I was just blown away. And then she sat next to me for the rest of the performance, and we were just, like, cracking jokes and whatever. She's great.
Wow.
She sat next to me.
She sat next to
Kind of a
me
big
Instead of Ben.
I
was snoring.
She's one of the really cool influences, I think, that
Yeah.
promotes a lot of good community.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I felt so cool with her just sitting next to me. So what you've just talked to her about her music?
Basically, yeah, we've just like chatted on Instagram just back and forth, and I've told her, I've been like, hey, I want to get more involved. What's going on? But like a lot of the conversations we've had have been since COVID.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. Anyways,
It's such a
But-
bummer.
yeah, there's not a whole ton that I honestly have been involved in the Utah scene other than like going to Velour occasionally and
I think now you have to be like
Yeah.
everyone's kind of hunkered down. Like the little
Yeah.
thing that Nathan does at his place, I think is good. Like we
Yeah.
try to keep it low key, and it's just like playing for your friends.
right.
And it seems like if you're a musician nowadays, it's just about finding one of those groups and hunkering down until the end
Yeah.
of COVID.
I'm sorry that we're like some of the first that you're connecting with in person.
Oh, I'm super excited.
Oh yeah.
You could do so much better.
No, I'm super excited. I'm not even
You're with
kidding
the
you.
bottom of the barrel.
You're not even in the barrel.
It's okay. It only goes up from here.
The barrel
my.
tipped over and we fell out. Yeah.
Then you
So,
got the last question.
Last
Okay,
question
go ahead,
for
Ben.
you.
Okay.
I watched your concert that you did at the apartment complex. What was it?
Yeah, just a week ago. Just did a
Yeah.
You were there?
No, She posted on Facebook.
yeah.
Did
So-
you watch the entire thing?
I
Yes,
did.
he did.
Wow.
Okay.
And
I think he's consumed all the media that you have online.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen your Instagram yet, but I will.
Yet.
Instagram, let me tell you.
If there's anything the Yuckbuckets are good at, it's creeping on people.
There you
Okay? Just kidding. One of the strengths that I noticed from your live performance is, well, it's a combination of your performance and also your songwriting that I call it rhetorical strategies when I message you about it. But basically just like getting the audience involved, right? Like you can hear the strategies in the songs that you write, like the song Cat Whistle. Like that's a song that you can't just sing and not expect people to shout back at, right?
Yeah.
It's yeah, and it's,
100%.
yeah, and especially the ladies in that concert were like having it, right? So yeah, tell us about your philosophies in getting the audience involved in songwriting and in performance.
I think that this is one of the biggest things for me, honestly. And so I'm glad you brought it up because this is like huge for how I write my music and how I want to perform. Is I want it to be in a way that is relatable to other people, which is like hence the title, relatable, because I want people to be able to relate to what they hear, but also like if they come to a show or if they see me perform, to be able to really get into it. Because I don't know, when I think of experiences where I've had at people's shows, if it's just like I'm sitting there and just watching them, you know, play their guitar or like sing, I just you get bored.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you get bored. And so if you can come up with ways to like get them involved, that's huge.
Yeah.
So even if it's just like coming up with a simple chorus or a simple melody, I mean, you might have noticed some of the songs that I would use for audience participation don't even have words. It's like you
Yeah,
know,
it's
very
the
simple melodies.
right. It's the melodies,
Exactly.
the humming melodies that you get people to copy.
Yeah, yeah.
Which a lot of times you don't even necessarily have to ask them to copy it because it's catchy and so they'll copy it. Right?
Exactly.
Which I think is strategic.
Exactly.
I had a quick question about that to wrap us up.
Sure.
Kind of bouncing off that. How have you seen that kind of audience participation has connected you and your audience?
There you go.
Has there been any sort of experience coming out of that people mention?
Yes.
Want to hear that?
For sure. There have been so many times where people have messaged me if they've heard my music or if they've seen my live streams or if they've like had any interaction with my music where they've told me that like, I feel something when I listen to your music. And, like, to me, that is, like, oh, that's, like, the biggest compliment. Like, when people tell me that they feel something when they listen to my music, I'm like, good. Like, I'm doing my job. Like, I don't know what it is you're feeling, but if you're feeling something, then success.
Right. Okay, I actually decide we're not going to end. Have you...
All of you.
I just thought, like, if we're going to jam... Do you know what song you want to jam to? Because I think we should talk a little bit about that song.
Yeah.
We're going to jam to...
I think we should jam to Ocean, because...
Okay, all right.
That's a good one to get into. So this one I wrote on my apartment balcony at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm a late night person.
Get it, girl.
I don't go to sleep.
You two get along.
Yeah,
You and
I don't sleep. I've actually dealt with insomnia for about the last year and a half since I've been home.
So it's not a preference.
Sometimes it is, though. Sometimes it is, because then it's like the quiet time when like nobody's awake, everybody's just doing their own thing, sleeping, and I can just like jam out on my balcony. You know?
Kind of feels like time stops that late, too.
Exactly. Yeah, it's great. It's perfect for me as far as songwriting. But yeah, that's how this song came about. Written about a special person.
Nice.
Wait, now I really want to remember. Okay, can you tell us your favorite part in the lyrics of the song?
Oh gosh, probably going into the second verse. It's like the lyrics for this song are so simple compared to other songs that I've written, but like I love the music of this song. Like I love the guitar accompaniment of it and just like the whole
rhythm.
jazz, like
the rhythm is
laid back
nice.
Feel like when I wrote it, I really wanted it to be something where if you're listening to it, it's like you can hear the ocean waves, like you can feel it, you know. So, but going into the second verse, there's this one line where I just mentioned that like he's the yin to my yang, and that's like literally our thing. That's always been our thing between us. So that's just kind of like a sweet little morsel.
Are those all the final questions that we have?
That's what
that's
I've
all
got.
the questions.
Yeah,
So
Final question number 3. Well,
wait, are you serious?
I'm just
you're-
asking. Okay, well, Mac, thank you for being on this podcast. You've been a wonderful guest.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Make sure to check out Mac Harris on all streaming platforms. Her EP, Relatable, is out. You can listen to it. Give her a check out and follow her on Instagram or any other social media.
All right, let's get to jamming.
Okay, let's do this.